Okay, dear my brothers and sisters, have a good day. The subject, Israel first, then America. I would like to talk about one of United States President Donald Trump's main presidential campaign slogans in 2016 was America first. Yet Trump's presidency followed a course more along the lines of Israel first than America. However, the Israeli lobby's influence on the United States Congress stands out more profoundly compared to past terms, along with their influence on the young Democrats Party base and increased numbers in Congress. The two-party Israel support is unrevealing. This is because the associations of the United States Middle East policy with Israeli interests has now reached a disturbing extent. Reference to Israel's interests in every matter ranging from the United States withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal to United States troops pulling out of Syria is starting to get old. The House of Representatives on Thursday approved a draft resolution to case military support to Saudi Arabia for the civil war in Yemen. The draft resolution that was approved with 247 votes in the House of Representatives, in which Democrats have the majority, received the yes vote from the 16 Republicans as well. A similar draft had been approved in the Senate in March. The lobby again took action to prevent the draft from being approved. The lobby argues that Israel will be harmed if the United States withdraws its support from the Saudis in Yemen. Hence, pro-Israel Republicans made an initiative to add to the draft a change that includes a sanction on companies that support the boycott, divestment and sanctions BDS movement, known as the Initiative to Boycott Israel for Palestine. Pro-Israel Democrats were infuriated by the initiative. Democrat deputies stated that BDS and Yemen needed to be discussed separately and accused Republicans of political deceit. In response, the Republicans tried to pressure the Democrats with the claim that they are anti-Jew. Democrat Deputy Ilhan Omar was declared anti-Jew for seasoning the Israeli lobby. The provocation was successful. Patrick W. Carliano, who made that trace to Omar, was detained in New York. Carliano, who was reported to have said that he is a pro-Trump patriot in the investigation by the FBI, is expected to appear in court on April 10. Republicans who accused Democrats of drifting toward an anti-Jew position want to draw liberal Jewish voters on their side in the 2020 elections. The BDS-related voting ended in a fiasco. Had the BDS change been added, the Yemen draft was going to go to the Senate. Their aim was to kill the draft in the Senate before it reached Trump. One of the leaders of the initiative to add the clause against the BDS in the Yemen draft is the House of Representatives' most senior Republican member, Michael McCall. According to McCall, who is known to have close relations with the Israeli lobby, the Yemen draft was a pro-Iran and Houthi draft, stating that it is pro-Israel and strongly against the BDS. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer accused the Republicans of using Israel in a Persian manner. These days, the topic of discussion in United States media is that a nuclear reactor in Saudi Arabia is in the final stage. The Israeli lobby has objected to the Trump administration allowing Saudis the transfer of nuclear technology. Pro-Israel Senator, primarily Marco Rubio, has demanded the investigation of nuclear support to Saudis. Israel does not want Saudis to have access to nuclear technology, even on the ground of Iran. Republicans that advocate United States support to Saudis in Yemen are also against the Saudi reactor on the basis of Israeli security. Americans are questioning the fact that the United States Middle East policy is being used for the Israelis' advantage. Young Americans are starting to get sick and tired with the reference to Israeli security in every single matter. Young Democrats are also working on a restriction to political donation amount to present Congress members from being manipulated. Meanwhile, some Democrats who announced their presidential candidacy in 2020 have already declared that they will not be accepting donation received through companies. Yes. The second one, a strange question concerning the election and the Turkestan fight. Turkey has thankfully completed the elections, which had fully engaged our agenda for a new month with the anticipated maturity. We showed respect to the people's will and accepted the objections and results with the same maturity. We must now focus on our work and the future. In the last week ahead of the elections, I became strangely curious. It was not the kind of curiosity concerning the results of the elections. I started to wonder what book or books the mayoral candidates preparing to run the metropolitan cities and particularly Istanbul, which is one of the world's metropolises. And lastly, perhaps this question was asked, but I did not come across anyone asking it in written, verbal, or visual interviews. What value was my question among all this hustle and bustle, especially amid all the discussions on the problems of cities, districts, and brought and their solutions? It is curiosity and cannot be helped. What book did Mr. Binali Yildirim and Mr. İmamoğlu, the two mayoral candidates for Istanbul last read, I am aware that they have been going through a busy period and hence they do not have time for this. This is why I am changing the question and asking it once more. The summaries of which books did their advisors last present to them? Yes, numerous figures who left a mark on history have gifted us with countless works and memoirs reflecting their experiences. I draw attention to this from time to time and recommend them to as many people as possible. The memories of individuals who struggled with problems similar to ours before us, that sometimes faced defeat and sometimes overcame them and raised themselves and their community back up on their feet, are the most important guides in terms of both writing the history of the past and establishing the history of the future. You are wondering what I read and where. I am trying to bring a topic to. First, I read an interview with late Zeki Velidi Togan that was published in the Yakın Tarihimiz dergisi, which is our recent history magazine in the 1960s. In that interview, he was regretfully discussing one of the works he wrote about the history of Turkestan, but was never able to publish. Of course, this had to be a book other than his 1942 book titled Bugünkü Türkili ve Yakın Tarihi, which means the current Turkish country and its recent history. After reading this old interview, I was in search of something new. And East Turkestan's first state president Alihan Töre's memoir, Turkestan Fight, came to my rescue. Despite its first print being in 2006, what slipped my attention is that I had the second print prepared by his own Kutlukhan Shakirov Edikut, adapted to Turkish by Oguz Doğan and published in February by Tarih Kur'an Publishing. Alihan Töre, a man with a great cause, is one of the important intellectuals and scholars that attempted the fight in Turkestan in same year, exactly like Zeki Velidi Togan. Mr. Alihan Töre, who is less known in our country compared to Zeki Velidi Togan, is a politician who considered the Basmacılar movement as a vested attempt that led to the loss of numerous children of the country and hence took a different stance. In other words, Zeki Velidi Togan is a man of action who thinks quite differently. Alihan Töre's memoir is an essential source for those seeking to understand the history of the oppression of the old Soviets in Turkestan and China in East Turkestan, which was on our agenda, but we forgot because we were in the election period. Alihan Töre, who was born in an Uzbek family in the Tokmak city of Kyrgyzstan, which was formerly known as Balasagun, takes his readers on a long journey throughout Turkestan as he tells of his political struggle in Turkestan, which was in the clasps of the Soviets on one side and China on the other, and the founding of the Republic of East Turkestan, he also takes his reader for a swim in the depths of the history of Turkestan and Islam. Think about it. As we hear the names of great centers of knowledge and civilization such as Samarkand, Bukhara, Kashgar, and take pride with scholars and the scientists raised there in the Middle Age, how many names can we mention raised in the same region in the 20th century? Alihan Ture is only one of the names we do not know, that has not seen the attention he deserves, as he tells his memories from his travels between Balaskun and Kashgar as of the 1920s, each one worthy of being the subject of novels, scenarios, and films. He suddenly takes you to the history of the Oghuz and the Uyghurs, from Satuk Bugra Khan to the Samanoğulları. Among his memories, he conveys the reasons behind the delay in the Islamization process of the Turks, the sad story of Kutaybe with Muslim in Fargana, and the things that happened to a people that raised the likes of Avicenna and Farabi after they fell into ignorance and lack of knowledge. He reminds us of Kashgar's and enslavement and highlights the results of neglecting education. The language he uses in reference to those responsible is one that nobody would want to be mentioned by. These are men that have committed an unforgivable crime against the homeland and the people, because these men have condemned their state to collapse, their people to slavery, and their homeland to abasement. Alihan Ture's memoir contains a great deal of information that could be used by historians as documents. It includes the operation of the Azatlık, affranchisement society that led to the founding the Republic of East Turkestan and the proclamation of the independence on November 12, 1944, as well as the colors and meanings of their sanjak and flag. I will end with a few articles from the 9-article proclamation. Chinese sovereignty on East Turkestan lands will be eliminated forever. The newly founded state will be a true, free and completely independent state that is based on the equality of the people of East Turkestan. As the majority of the people of East Turkestan are Muslim, Islam will be supported, yet other religions will also be protected. Do you not also think that everybody, put primarily politicians, should read memoirs? Thank you very much for your kind attention and listening, and God bless you all, my sisters and brothers.